Well, what's up? I'm Greg Olsen, and I got a game ball. This Week 6 game, 2015, was a game that I know all Panther fans remember. I know we all remember it.
Brilliant catch.
Going toe-to-toe with what was one of the best teams in the league, Legion of Boom defense.
And now for Olsen, 131 yards and a touchdown.
It was kind of our coming out party that year going into the Super Bowl.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Coming to Seattle and beat the Seattle Seahawks.
The Panthers have come west. A win here means validation, it means respect, and it means another key step in the Panther process. If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best.
They were the premier NFC team for years, and they were the team. We had played them, they beat us. We just couldn't get over the hump, and then this year, 2015, finally, it all kind of came together, and we went up to their place, which still to this day is arguably the hardest place to play in the NFL. The crowd, the energy. This game meant a lot because I think we knew how good we were. I think this really put us on the map to say, hey, you know, this Panthers team, these guys are pretty for real. And then of course the rest of the season we know how it went, you know, going 15-1. But this game right here, I think was symbolic of like our rebuild was complete. You know, we had made the playoffs, we had done some things, but this going toe-to-toe with what was one of the best teams in the league, Legion of Boom defense. This was, there was a lot of boxes we checked with this game.
You kind of touched on it before. This was the Seahawks at the height of their powers. Do you relish the challenge to play against
Yeah, I mean,
those type of guys?
I mean, you definitely relish the challenge. I don't know if I ever was psyched. I don't know if I was ever like, oh, I can't wait to play against Cam Chancellor and Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas. And I mean, you can go down the list of the guys they had on defense. You always want to play against the good teams, but I think everyone like tries to talk tough when they're like, oh, no, I would have rather played someone else, right? I mean, it would have been easier, but this was the mountain we needed to climb, right? We knew that in order to ever consider ourselves in that group, we were gonna have to go toe-to-toe with them and take their best shot at their place where they very rarely lost, and obviously we know how the game ended.
Seattle ripped off 17 straight points to lead 20-7, and the Panthers have come crawling back since then. Chance to break Seattle hearts.
I'm taking a shot in the end zone.
Cam Newton throws a pass, Olsen end zone, caught, touchdown!
Yes! Olsen gets behind the secondary, and this crowd is quieted.
Believe it or not, the game winner here, the previous one that I'd caught that I got tackled at the one that set up Stu's touchdown, and then the touchdown in the divisional round at the end of the year, those were all the same play. And a lot of it was just that style, that single high zone, to have a corner to my side. There's a really big alley there, we used to call it a nod 9. The thing about Seattle was you knew what plays you needed to run. You knew where the holes were in the defense. It's just a matter of were you good enough to do it.
And you're talking about one of the most vaunted secondaries over the last couple of years in the league that Greg Olsen got behind for that catch.
Oh my goodness!
You're very rarely that open in the NFL. I remember slow motion just being like, catch this, secure it, stay in bounds. And then after I caught it and going out the back of the end zone, it was just like the biggest sense of relief. It was like, we did it. We did it. You know, like we finally got over this hump. You could see Cam was losing his mind. My favorite image of the whole day is Joe Webb coming to the sideline and just losing his mind. He was such a great teammate and just had a great energy to him. So when Joe came to the sideline, you see him like jumping on top of Cam and losing his mind. So just so many of these memories come flooding back as I kind of watch this highlight tape here.
A 4-point Carolina lead. Could that be the 9th game-winning drive engineered by Cam Newton? We will see.
You mentioned Cam. Like Cam just had a lot of trust that even if it wasn't perfect, we used to joke like we don't run lines on paper, right? Like Cam and I, it's just not how we saw the game. We do not just run 10 yards and run in. I'm gonna run where they're not. And Cam had a lot of trust that wherever I went, he would just see it, and if it was a little off, he had an unbelievable ability to play off script, where if it wasn't exactly where it was supposed to be, it didn't affect him. That's why he was such a good fit for me, because I didn't like to run my routes in a box. I didn't like to run my routes where I had to be 2 yards outside the hash at 7.5 yards. And that's just not the way I operated. So to play with Cam, who didn't operate that way either, it worked because we saw things the same way.
You're beautiful, Cam Newton. That was a beautiful pass.
Dropped it in the bucket right over the linebacker's shoulder.
Yeah, I think what was unique about this game, you know, we would end up playing them in the divisional round at home in the playoffs and winning in a game that was a lot more meaningful, right? This was week 6 of the regular season. It was in October. It really wouldn't have altered the season record-wise, but it altered the season because it really showed us like this was a special group, right? Like we had a special group of guys. They played hard. Every game mattered. Like it was just different. So I think we went to Seattle that year knowing like this is almost like an early playoff game for us. You know, this is going to tell us a lot about ourselves. This is going to show the league a lot about what we think we're capable of within the locker room.
Keep pounding on 3. 1, 2, 3. Keep pounding.
And a lot of us had been there for the entire build. You know, a lot of us had been there for the entire ride. We had played in playoff games. Like I said, we had won a playoff game. This just felt different. You know, beating Seattle this year felt bigger than beating Arizona the year before in the wild card round.
What an unbelievable, validating, respect-taking road win for the Carolina Panthers.